Well, welcome to another edition of the Mile High Real Estate Spotlight podcast. Today is going to be an exciting day. I have Lauren Cross on today, and she is local here to the Denver community, went to Gateway High School. She is a single mom, has some kids, and she's making it happen in the real estate world. And so one of the things that I love to highlight on this show is folks that are making business, folks that are helping others out. It's super important that we make sure that we share. She's on not only on the the buyer side where she's helping people get into new homes. She's on the investment side as well. She knows what she's doing. She knows our area. She knows it well. She grew up here, and it's just exciting to just know that there are people in our community that are out there making a difference in people's lives. And it's important to Lauren to get this done. And so, Lauren, thank you for being on the show today. We just love the fact that you're willing to be here and talk to us and share some growth. So before we get started on your story, why don't you tell everybody how to get a hold of you? I think that's super important.
Sure. Yeah. I first of all, thank you so much for having me on. That was a lot, and I really appreciate you and what you do here. So I'm thankful to be here. But it's my phone number really is the best way. I mean, there's websites, Instagram, all that stuff, but 303-921-0168 is text, call. That's really just the best way to get in touch with me.
All right, great. And so let's talk about you. Like, how did you get involved in this? I mean, you can go back as far as you would like, and hey, when I was in junior high, I dreamed about being a real estate agent, or wherever you want to start, and just kind of tell us what you do for folks as you're here.
Yeah, at early 20s, I was kind of into design, interior design and stuff like that. So I've always had my eye on that for as long as I can remember. But I got into lending to really start my career in my early 20s. And I did that for, until the nice 2008 recession timeframe. And then got my license. And I really know I love the numbers part of it. I do love the guidelines, kind of the rule part of the lending side of it. But I knew that I missed actually being with my clients and like being more face to face, seeing them a lot more, being out and about, fit my personality a lot better. So so I got licensed in 2013 and been doing it ever since. So
all right.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the fact. I think about that often. I obviously did lending, in the 2000s up to 2008, and I was in California then. It fell all apart. And then I often think about being in real estate instead. I had my real estate license back then because I guess you had to do mortgage in California back then. And then I came here, and then so right now I specialize in down payment assistance and reverse mortgages. And I say, hey, sometimes I say it would be really cool to be a real estate agent because you just get to get out there and you talk to people. Not that I don't talk to people, but you actually get to see them and take them around, right? There's so many clients, especially I'm licensed in 15 states or something like that, and so I don't even see a lot of the clients that I work with, other than maybe on a Zoom or something like that. And to be able to do what you do is just so special. And that relationship that you get to build with folks and the times you get to take them around. What would you say your favorite part about being an agent is? What just like gets you up in the morning and wants you to come back and do it again?
I love problems. I love problem solving. So I think it's just a matter of, no house is the same. No inspection objection is the same. No, moving timeline possession problem is the same. And I just really, I get a little bit obsessive about like, there's a solution, and we're going to find it. And that really makes me happy. That's really like what keeps me going. I think if it was, your job, especially too, is like, it's never cookie cutter. It's never the same. So it's like, I think if it was, it would take a lot of the fun out of it, but it's really not. So that would probably be my favorite part of being an agent.
Yeah. I love how you said, because, it is, some people think it's just like, you go buy a car, or you go buy something at Target or something. And there are so many moving pieces in our industry, and every deal is different. At least on the lending side, we get to the, every client does something different when they do their application, right? Some will, you'll
Oh,
get
well,
towards the end and they'll go buy something. And then you go, wait a minute, you can't buy something because now it shows that you have, whatever it is, they're all unique challenges. And for people to think it's, like you said, every house is different, right? Every seller is different in what they're expecting. And so, having that patience. Is there something you do at the beginning of your transactions that you help folks understand the patience that it's going to take and the processes it's going to take? What are some of those things that you do in that part?
I think like the biggest part is really just because it's not cookie cutter, and I feel like most of my business is based on referrals. It's really personal to me. And so I think the biggest part is just listening, to try to gain perspective on like what is most important to the client. Like some people are super time sensitive, some are more money sensitive, some are like, I just cannot handle moving twice. Like that's a big part of it. So just really listening to what's important to them and then gaining like a little bit of knowledge about their personalities. And, that can help us really navigate like, okay, this is really gonna stress this person out. That means even though I communicate a lot, like I'm gonna be over the top with, even if I don't have an update, checking in with them twice a day. Like, so I think that's probably something that I do a little bit different. That's like from the very beginning, and just really for me to hopefully give a better experience. But then the second part of that in the beginning is really expectations. It's like I don't ever want to be like, oh, this is going to be just fun and magical the
Hmm.
whole way through. Like it's like, okay, well, you're looking at a new build. Here's from my experience, like what we're going to deal with even to the very last day. And, there are just so many different nuances that you just really, as long as people have a little bit more knowledge about the process, I think it's makes it a lot easier. They can handle it when the time comes. So
Well, absolutely. The miracle happens once you move in and you have the keys, and now it's your house. The
yeah,
the
yeah,
finding the person behind the curtain, like in the Wizard of Oz, is just the challenge of getting to that point.
yeah.
You talked about the importance of spending time with people and understanding and listening to them. And it's not usually a problem, but there are some people who know exactly what they want, and there's some people who think they know exactly what they want. How do you decipher that person who tells you one thing, and then as you see them looking at stuff, it's totally different than what they told you? How,
Oh,
how
it's
do you
so
work through
funny.
that?
It's so funny. Like it's like, okay, it's like when you first get together and you're like, what are your needs? What are your wants? What are your dreams? And you kind of have like this basis of what you want. Sometimes we get caught up in like, oh, I just found this fairy tale house on 2 acres that's 45 minutes out of the way, further from where I want it to be, but it's beautiful. And it's like you just kind of always have to circle back to say, okay, like this was really like these are your checklists for a reason, and why you've been thinking about moving for the last 2 years, like this was really set in your mind. um to kind of just bring them back to why they needed to move in the first place, because we all get caught up in it, right? It's like the shiny car syndrome, like, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
I have to have that. And there's a lot of pretty houses out there, but I think just kind of checking back into that. But it also happens a lot of times too. So I tell clients all the time, hey, don't hesitate to reach out to me even if your move is over a year away, because sometimes that's part of the process, is saying, okay, well, this is where I think I want to be. And then we kind of like unfold different areas, different communities that are being built, different ideas of, well, you could be closer to maybe this other office. And really, it's a process sometimes of unfolding what is going to work for them. And sometimes they have to work through that over time as well. So it's
Gotcha. Do
fun.
you ever
It's fun to see. I'm like, hey, it's all good. If you are complete opposite of what you originally thought, like I'm here for it, as long as it still is what they really need at the end of the day.
Absolutely, absolutely. Do you ever send people to new builds just to look at and get ideas that they are kind of not knowing, some of the ways that these, I mean, you're a design person. My daughter's the same way. She went to the Fashion Institute for Design and Merchandising, and now
Oh,
she's in this business, and she, does costume design. And so everything is, yeah, I think she even does like, model homes and stuff and stages for, folks in Northern California. But, having that design eye that you have, do you ever just send people because they're just not sure of things, or, just to kind of imagine, or is it just you help draw that picture for them so well?
so I think it's not necessarily sending them to new builds. Like if that comes up, it's like, okay, let's go check this out. But I think probably for the most part, what I end up doing occasionally for those that can't visualize um, what something would look like if they remodeled a kitchen or if they blew out a wall or if,
Hmm.
how it would look when it's staged is like just kind of me doing some simple drawings of saying, like, hey, I know this is really hard to visualize, but like this is what I see when all is said and done, if that's the route you want to go. But it is really difficult for folks that don't really have that eye to buy something that's not already done. So that's kind of
Hmm.
tough. But then too, like a lot of really like if we look at a house and the basement's unfinished, it's like, let's draw this out. It's probably my favorite thing to do. It's like, let's draw this
Hmm.
out real quick and just make sure that this actually would be suitable if you needed two bedrooms down there where the egress windows would go. I think that's like if I ever do any of that, I think that's probably the majority of what I
Okay,
do for them. Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So I know you do a lot of stuff in the investment side and investment world, and the TV shows that are out there today that tell everybody they can go flip a house and they can make it do, or the ones that say, "Oh, just go get an Airbnb or VRB, whatever it is." How do you help people think through what investing is and how much work some of those projects are if they are thinking, "I'm just going to go flip a house and make a whole bunch of money"? How do you help them understand that process and what's best in the investment side?
Um, I think it's more just like, have you ever remodeled even a kitchen? Like, have you ever even done tile in your bathroom? It's like,
Mhm.
and and if you have, or on the money side, okay, like who are you going to pair up with that is a good contractor that you can trust to get the job done? And so I think there's a lot of there's a lot of people that that's their dream, and I'm always just a positive person and more
Mhm.
like go for it. Like if this is what you want to do, like absolutely, here's step number 1. Here's step number 2. And
Mhm.
it could take you 3 years to get there, but like let's be responsible about getting into that, and making sure that you feel, or at least what's your comfort level as far as, throwing money at something or getting into something like that. What's the time commitment that you're willing to put in, whether it be a long term or a short term? Do you need a property manager? Kind of like those questions are really telling for people. And I don't think it's hard because you don't, unless you're really in it and you're listening to some podcasts and like really trying to learn about it, you don't get those questions asked for yourself. So I think
Mhm.
just that's such clarification, having someone ask those questions, in my opinion, and then it kind of leads in either direction.
Yeah, and I'm with you. You don't want to steal anybody's dream,
Yeah,
because if they want to do it, go for it.
yeah,
But just helping them understand, like you watch those shows and they go from, purchasing it to tearing it around to, putting new walls up to having furniture put in all in, 30 minutes. Right.
yeah,
And then they
yeah.
think, oh, they didn't realize that was like
Oh,
2 years of filming or whatever to make it happen.
yeah,
And, they think, oh, 30 days, we're going to flip it and then somebody's going to buy it. We're going to make all this money. So just
right,
having some realistic expectations is fun.
right,
What
yeah.
what do you think what it is that makes you such an exceptional agent? What differentiates you from some of the other agents that are out there? I mean, there's good agents out there and people that are, there's no way to say that there's not. But there's some things that people who make it in this business do that others don't do. What were some of those things you think you do?
Um, so I am mostly referral based agent. Like
Okay.
majority of my business for 10 years has just come from people who have used me and then sent me to their friend, which I'm very grateful for. And I think the reason for that, and something that I kind of spoke to earlier, but it's really personal for me, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a high school friend's mom, downsizing, or it's a friend who's moving out of state and has two young kids. It's like it's very personal to me when I get referred. And so um you really do get a personalized experience. Like I said, it's not cookie cutter. And I know there are a lot of good agents, a lot of good volume teams, things like that that do a very good job. And I think really when I come at it, it's like I need to know really what's important to that person. And no computer is going to be able to generate kind of the touches that I have and the communication and the negotiation that happens on the backside, because I know what's important to that person. And so I think it's more personal. I am if they are stressed out, if it is hard, if they are all of a sudden saying, I just sometimes stress is like people are like, I I can't do this. It's tough, and I'm there for them to, hold their hand through it and kind of hold their emotions for them and give them that space to feel really stressed out and have their emotional breakthroughs. And then say, okay, like, what's our next, like, let's just one step at a time, like, what's our next step? And I feel like I am really good at that, and I really do take that to heart, that I'll never be an agent that doesn't do that,
Oh,
so
good.
if I don't have the time for it, I would pass them off to somebody else, because that is what I do wholeheartedly.
Oh, that's awesome. We talked about it a few times today, but I just want to, as I think of single moms and I think of their process when, trying to buy a home, not that it's any different than a family buying a home, but I think there are just some things that you might be able to, enlighten single moms about, maybe even the prep of, you can do this. It's not something you have to wait for. It's not something that you have to, there's all these things that I, in the mindset, when I deal with some single moms, that there's this belief that there's something else that has to happen, that they can't own home or have home ownership. What do you say, when a single mom comes to you, or, because you've had that, you have that experience of being one, but, what are some things that you can do to help encourage them to move forward with this process?
Oh, I love that. And I'm so not the type to be like, oh, I'm a single mom, so like it's so much harder for me
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever. Like I just don't ever feel like I pull that card, but it is a reality, and I'm kind of part of groups of like divorced moms and things like that, because I think it is important to share. We got divorced. My divorce happened quite a while ago. I think it was 8 years now, and my kids were 2 and 3, and so like there just wasn't even a reality of thinking of certain it's like it's a zoo over here, like life isn't
Mhm.
going to be normal ever, was kind of what was going through my mind. So I think like number one is mindset is everything. Once you kind of push through the cobwebs of like, hey, you're going to be okay, like
Mhm.
life is good and you're going to be okay. I think like that's the first step. But I think two is just really, like you said, everything has to come with making a plan. You have to decide as a single mom, like, what is going to be more important to you? Like where do you want to see your kids, even if that is in 2 years, 3 years, like, you've got to set that vision of like, what life do you want for your kids? And then
Mhm.
make a, work backwards from there. Like it just is like everything else. You just have to focus on what's important. But then two, like you said earlier, there are programs out there, right? Like
Mhm.
there are so many programs. You do not need 20% down. You do not need 50,000 in the bank. Like we can just like make it happen. And that's really exciting. And it's really talking to, someone like you or someone like me from the very beginning, like when it's even a dream in your mind, because we're not gonna say, oh, you're just like, don't waste my time. We're gonna say like, perfect, because you aren't in a time crunch, so we can wait for that right deal. We
Mhm.
can get you set up or fix your credit or what have you. So I think it's just, my big thing with what anyone's going through is mindset first. Like, figure out what you want, figure out where you want to be, figure out what kind of household you want for your kids, and kind of get out of that, like, hey, this woe is me. It's like, no, this is fun and this is empowering and I can do it. And, that's exciting. And now that I look back, it's exciting.
Yeah, there's, when I think about that, the single moms I've been able to help lately, and there's, even a program called Project ICU, not like ICU a hospital, but ICU, they gave a $10,000 grant to my last single mom. It's for single moms to be able, and they could use it for down payment, they could use it for furniture after, they can use it for, I mean, there's so many different things. I think more than ever, to not get stuck in that shell that says, hey, this is going to be too hard, or this is, so difficult, or, where there's, you have the families that have, dads that are helping out, and then you have the families that dads aren't helping out.
Mhm.
And neither one doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to get a house, or that you shouldn't be
Right.
able to have, I mean, maybe different considerations like schools and athletics and things where you might have to drive, kids around further if you're in a
Mhm.
different location. But not an undoable thing. There are places and houses when you, like you said, you have that plan that allows you to do that. How do you help people on the investment side? Like they have their home and they're going, okay, I need to figure out where I think real estate is something I want to invest in, because I know that it's pretty stable and things go up and I can kind of count on that, but I have no idea where to get started. How do you help people in that process?
Yeah, I think it's really, like, first and foremost, some people really need to know, um do they want to flip houses first? Do they want to get into kind of that, try to make a quick buck deal, or are they going to be into, more, hey, this is long term for me, like this is really going to set up my family for years to come and generations to come. So first, kind of trying to figure out which
Mhm,
direction they want to go and what, how much time they have to invest in it. It's like, okay, I have the money, but I don't have the time, or I have the time, I don't have the money, and like, who do we match them up with?
mhm,
So, but a lot of it is really just like, kind of what's the end game? How much cash flow is that giving you at the end of the day, whether that be in 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years? And how do you break that down to doors
mhm,
owned? And then, especially starting out, it's like, do you need to be able to see what your investment is? Some people, even if maybe they're not managing the property, they want to be able to see that it's a real thing, and drive by or whatever. And some people are like, hey, if the numbers make sense, like, take me to Indiana or whatever that looks like.
mhm,
Colorado isn't always the best place to get started. So if someone's okay with that, sometimes it's a referral out of state or something like that, just to find the best margins. And so I think it really depends on how hands on, how in, you know, location wise, how close geographically that person needs or wants to be. um or are they looking for something more fun like an Airbnb or something like that? Are they more
yeah.
design? Do they have the time to manage it? So I think there's just so many questions and so many avenues that you can take. But then really the biggest question always is like, what's the end game here? Like, you're not doing this for fun. I mean,
Mhm.
sure you can, but like, what's the end goal? What is the big picture goal here? And how do you get there the fastest?
Yeah, that's so cool that you said that because Colorado, because we're not the cheapest housing market in the nation, right? We're at the top, and you think of some of the other states. I talked to a person not too long ago. She has 50 properties and hasn't seen any of them,
Yeah.
that are in different states. I have a developer friend who just got 100 lots in Tennessee. And so he's going to be selling those, and so looking for investors in that realm. I talked to a guy out of California, Onify. We did a podcast with him, and he's allowing people to get their first home and people to invest. Like if you have $500 or $1,000, you can invest in that property to help somebody be able to get a house and begin that process without having to go through the whole thing of buying a house. So many opportunities that are out there. It's just a
Mhm.
matter of talking to somebody like you that says, oh, okay, you do these. What's going to be the best, choice for me? And I think that's an important question that people need to ask is, not just trying to figure it out themselves, but calling one of us to do that. We're getting, on the time here. So I want you to make sure you tell everybody once again how to get a hold of you. And then maybe any other closing thoughts that you may have that could enlighten the folks that are watching today.
Sure. So phone number is 303-921-0168. If you do want to email, it's laurencrossre@gmail. Um, but closing thoughts, I mean, it's just, I think whatever you want to do in real estate is just starts with, questions and asking the right people and, not hiding behind Google and trying to find answers there, which is always it can be super helpful, but it's like, talk to those people who are in it every day. It's a world of difference as far as, the market and what's actually going on. Our market changes, you know, just we hit the ground running January and is completely different already than it was 6 months ago. So just knowing that you have an actual person in your corner to help you navigate that.
Oh, absolutely. I just thought something before we close. Do you have like one client story you'd love to share with us about something that just, something that lit you up, that just made you excited, that made you happy, that you were able to do with somebody?
Oh gosh. I think probably like in this industry, and once you've been kind of doing it a while, like you get really you're like, okay, this is the seasonality, like this is what's going to happen next, you can kind of start to predict it, and you just never know when. I think I had just had surgery or something, and this was quite a few years ago, but it was around the holidays to where it's like, okay, like of course people are still going to buy and stuff, but it's not like I'm going to have anything urgent. And some dear friends from, my childhood called, um and the mom had ended up fallen. She fell, and they had to like switch gears on what they were looking for. They were getting ready to move and under contract on a new build, and that just like completely changed their whole world to have like an elderly person fall, now is probably in a wheelchair, who knows for how long, and just have to say, like, they call, you pick up the phone, and it's just like you hit
Mhm.
the ground running so hard and so fast because you're like, oh gosh, if I could, I want to ease this pain for them. I want to make sure that they know like they have somewhere to move while she's recovering. And so I think that was like, that's one story that I just think about, like around the holidays, and you think you're going to be not working, and it's like, yes, I will hands down drop everything I'm doing and
Mhm.
work tirelessly to just get you where you need to be. So that really always like hits home for me.
That's so cool that you're able to do that, and that you can say I can pivot because you care about the people that you work with. And that's a great sign of saying, hey, no, we're going to do whatever we can. That house isn't going to work. We got to find something else. We got to find it fast. And I just appreciate your willingness to be able to do that. And so
Always.
thank you for that. And so, one of the things that I love to say at the end of every show is one that you can do this. As you can see, Lauren is a person who can absolutely help you navigate the waters of real estate and what you need to do. But don't give up on that house without calling, Lauren or one of the other people that are on here for sure. The other part is you deserve this. Our country, I love saying this because it has allowed us to be able to do some fun things with real estate. It allows us to create generational wealth and wealth for our families, and being able to live in areas that we might not have thought we may have been able to. And finally, the last thing is let us help you. There are so many things. If you could tell from just us talking over the last hour, there's some things that you don't know. You're not in this every single day. You're not doing this all the time. What's really unique about Lauren is she's been in the loan side of it as well, so she can kind of help you even navigate what might even be some of the best possibilities. Of course, I would love for you to call me, but if you're talking to her first, then absolutely ask her those questions and she can lead you in that right direction of making sure that this is a reality for you. So important that you be able to do that. So let us help you. Don't try to figure out by yourself. And then just remember, that, with us being here and you being able to do it and you being able to deserve it, it's just right around the corner. So don't wait, don't hesitate. There are some things in the market. You hear all these things on the media and on TV. They advertise stuff on TV purposely so that they can either slow down our economy or they can speed up our economy. But that doesn't mean that's what's right for you. And so before you start listening to all the things that are out there, call one of us and let us be able to help you. So you guys have a wonderful, awesome, just incredible day. Thank you for participating in another episode of the Mile High Real Estate Spotlight. And we'll look forward to talking with you guys soon. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
This is Brian Arnold, and if you are listening to this part, you've just watched one of our episodes of the Mile High Real Estate Spotlight, where we've just talked to one of the best of the best. And I want to thank whichever guest that was here. They are phenomenal. They are amazing. They are the top of the top, the best of the best that are in our industry that are here with us today. And so I encourage you to please call them, pick their brains. They work for you. They enjoy working for you. They are incredibly good at it. And so I want to make sure that you give them a call. So whoever you listen to, whichever one you saw that you were there, please do that. The other thing is everyone deserves a home. Everyone deserves a home. I say that at the end of my show. You deserve it. Let us help you do it. My goal is to make sure that we see homeownership. It just sickens me to see apartment complexes continue to go up, because I know those are people who haven't been able to make the call or figure out a plan. So let us help put that plan together for you. I have some websites that allow you to do that, and I'll put those in the bottom, but please do. I am a lender. I do work in the lending space. If you do not already have somebody who's pre-qualified you, I would love to be able to have that opportunity to earn your business and qualify you. My number is 720-682-2223. That's 720-682-2223. Give me a call anytime, and I would love to be able to help you with that. We also do living trust. And so when we think about an estate, to try to avoid probate and make sure that doesn't happen. So whether it's you, if you own a home, and you should have a living trust. And I will say that everyone, not just deserves it, everyone needs a living trust if they own a home. And then finally, just wanted to thank you for watching these episodes. And so please tune into more. Would love for you to see and be able to shop around. So thank you for doing that. Again, I want to make sure that you know that you can do this. You deserve this. And let us help you make it happen. You guys have an awesome, wonderful, awestruck, incredible day today.